So what does okay mean, right? Okay simply means you are free. Specifically, I always say if you look at commands and stuff, a lot of people sandwich okay into a command. Okay is not a command. Okay is similar to your marker words that you use. Yes and no, right? Those aren't commands either. Those are things you use to identify stuff.
Yeah.
So okay specifically marks the end of whatever thing the dog is currently engaging in, right? So let's say I tell a dog heel, right? When I tell a dog heel and I tell them okay, what I am doing is effectively marking the end of the heel command.
Okay.
Right? Meaning there's no expectation until I ask them to do something else, right? If I put the dog in a bed command, okay marks the end of that bed command, right? So it says something about what you were doing before, but it doesn't say anything about what you should be doing after, right?
Yep.
So here's my issue with all these different ways people are describing it, right? Is the second you start creating these weird expectations of if you're on a bed and I tell you okay, it's a calm release. That was something that was said many times. My question for everybody that says that is, what does that mean? How do you define that clearly? Okay. What is calm? Right?
Yeah.
What is calm, right? For some people, in some situations, calm is walking patiently off of the bed. In some cases, it's running off of the bed, but not running full speed off of the bed.
Yeah.
In some cases, it might mean they hesitate on getting off and then slowly get off afterwards. And then my next question for you would be, do you think your dog is even remotely conscious of their energy level? And how do you define exactly what the appropriate cap to that energy level is to the dog? You cannot.
No.
You literally cannot. Right?
Yeah.
And here's my problem, right? We look at all the places we use a release, right? If your dog is waiting for their food, we use a release to tell them they can go eat it. If you're letting your dog into the backyard, you use your release to tell the dog that they could go into the backyard. If you are letting your dog come out of the car, you could use it to let them come out of the car, right? All of those different situations are going to have different energy levels. When I tell my dogs okay at their food bowl, they go 150% energy level, full bore to that food bowl because they are really, really amped up to get it, right?
Yeah.
The association of what they are going to get, there's so much anticipation behind it that they just railroad right into it, right? When I go let them into the backyard in the morning to go to the bathroom, right? They are flying out into that backyard, right?
Oh, yeah.
If I'm getting out of the car and I'm releasing them into a big open field to go run around, they're going, right? If I've been healing with them at the park and we get to the spot where then they can go run and chase their chuck it, they are going full bore to go chase that chuck it, right? So how are you going to tell the dog to calm down in those situations, right? Or if you're going to use it in those situations and let them get all amped up, but then punish them for being amped up to get off of other situations, you've created a double standard. It does not make sense.
Yeah.
It does not make sense, right? And here's the other problem with it, right? I see people do this all the time. I see local trainers around here do this and talk about, if I release my dog from place and they got up all excited, I would correct them for it. So I'm like trying to figure out clear ways to be able to explain how ridiculous of a concept that is, right? Because if I needed my dog to do something specific, I wouldn't use a release for that. I just wouldn't. Right? Yeah. So let's take the example, one of the examples she described, right? When she gets out of the car at the park, right? If you don't want the dog to come out and go flying all over the place, give the dog a command, right? So we could use okay, or we could use something like come or heel in that context, right?
Yeah.
Where the dog comes out of the car And there is an expectation of them in that moment. And if they didn't comply with that expectation in that moment, I could give a correction for that the dog would clearly understand.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I do this with my dogs literally all the time. We get to the park to go hiking or something like that. I open the car door. They're waiting. I don't release them out of it. I put them into another command, right? So there's multiple ways to release a dog from a position. You could release a dog from a position with a release, or you could release them into another command. You could use another command to effectively end the thing you were doing before and start something else, right?
Yeah.
So Beckman's method at the doorway, when he was telling the dog okay, and the dog would run ahead, and then he punished the dog for it, right?
Yeah.
Just tell the dog heel there instead, right? If you still want the dog next to you, just give the dog the command that means stay next to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't get what's so complicated about that,